Hey guys, welcome to another Gauging Gadgets Garmin Venu tutorial video. In this video, we'll be doing a quick overview of the system settings on the Garmin Venu. The system settings on the Garmin Venu are important because they contain many of the important configurations for the watch, including the display settings, the language settings. You can set the time for the watch, and on top of all that, you can perform a factory reset or upgrade the firmware. All right, to get into the system settings, we open up the menu by holding down the bottom right button down here. So just hold that down for a second or two. And when the menu opens, scroll down until you see the gear, select the gear. This will bring us into the settings. In the settings, to get to the system settings, all we need to do is scroll all the way down to the bottom until we see system. The first option in the system settings is auto lock. If we select this, we have a couple options right here for when the display and the buttons will no longer respond to any button presses or swipes on the screen, anything like that. You can have it always be set to auto lock. And this can be useful if you're doing activities such as boxing, or you're just having a lot of accidental button presses or controls on the screen. So you can turn it on to be always on during activities and then not during activities. So there's your 4 options for that. Next in the system settings, we have language, and this is where you can configure which language will be displayed on the watch. I'll just scroll through these so you can see which ones are available. All right. After language, we have time settings, and this is where you can not only configure the time format, so you can go to 12 or 24, you can also configure the time on the watch. So if I select time source, currently have it set for auto, and that just uses your phone for that information. But if I select manual, a new option will appear under time source, and that's where I can go in and set the time manually. After time, in the system settings, we have date, and this is where you can configure the date. So I can select this and actually configure it, but you can also configure the date format there. So they have day month or month day. Next in the system settings, we have display, and this is actually pretty important. And that's going to be because the display impacts the battery life on this watch so much. So first, the brightness settings. I currently have it on high just for this tutorial. We have 3 different available options: medium, low, and high. I find that low works great for me throughout the day. I can see it in direct sunlight, and it's not too bright at night. After that, we have timeout. And there are 3 options here for how long the screen and the display will turn on. I usually use short, that's long enough to quickly see a notification or read what time it is on the watch. But below these 3 options, you also have always on. And always on will leave a portion of the display on, and that will show the time. So you will always be able to see the time on the watch. Even if it is pointing away from you, it will just always show the time. Now this does use more battery life. From what I've seen, it shortens the battery life down to about 3 days. And it only works on the built-in watch faces. So if you have a third-party watch face from the Garmin Connect IQ store, it will not work. All right, after timeout, we have gesture. And what gesture does is it allows the watch face to turn on when you turn the watch towards you. It also turns the watch face off when you turn it away from you. So I haven't found that it uses that much battery life, and it's really convenient for turning on the watch face on the Garmin Venu. Now you have 2 options here. You can have it always be on, only during activities, or you can turn it off if you want to get maximum battery life. And then in the sensitivity, you have high and low, and the sensitivity is going to be how sensitive is it when it's detecting if you're turning the watch face towards you. I like to have that on high. And then the final item in the display settings is going to be during an activity. So this is how the display acts while you're in activity. So you can have it always be on, or you can have it time out. And always on during activity actually just leaves the entire display on. It does not turn off a portion of the display. So it will use a lot of battery life there. All right, going back to the system settings, next is going to be Physio TrueUp, and that just ensures that your watch can share information with other Garmin devices you have. So this includes steps, different running dynamics, things like that. I recommend always having that on if you have multiple Garmin devices. Next in the system settings, we have vibration, and this just controls the strength of the vibration on the watch. I like to have it at medium. That allows me to feel the vibration, but it's not too loud. If I have it on high, I find that if I'm in a meeting or at work or something, people around me can hear that. So I like to keep it on medium, and even low would be better than that, just to keep it more private. You can also turn off the vibration. And one cool thing, when you select one of the vibration strengths, it'll vibrate that amount for you so you can see what that'll feel like. Next in the system settings, we have Do Not Disturb. Do Not Disturb just prevents any notifications or your move bar from turning on the watch face or vibrating the watch in any way or popping up on the watch face. So you can turn it on manually, and that might be good if you're going into a meeting or something like that. But you can also have it automatically turn on during your sleep time, and this is configured in the Garmin Connect app. I do have a tutorial for that, so check the link in the description if you want to change that around or learn more about it. But you can turn that automatic sleep mode on or off here as well. All right, so going back to the system settings, we have units, and this will determine which units will be used for all these different types of measurements. So distance, pace, speed, elevation, weight, height, temperature. You could decide what unit will be used for that. After that, in the system settings, we have data recording, and this is either smart or every second. And really what data recording is about is how much memory will be used with the recording of your activities and different things such as your heart rate, stuff like that. If you have it on smart, it will limit that and only do it when it detects an activity or a change in one of the things that it's measuring. But if you have it on every second, it will record every second no matter what. So that's just based on your preference. I have heard that every second is more accurate, though I'm not sure how true that is. Moving down to USB mode, this just controls what happens when you plug the watch into your computer. Next in the system settings, we have reset, and this is where you can perform a factory reset on the watch, wiping everything from it, including your activities and your watch faces, everything. Or you can reset it to default settings right here, and that'll just reset all the settings on the watch back to default. But that'll leave all of your data on the watch. So you have two options there. Next in the system settings, we have software update, and this is where you can manually trigger the watch to look for a software update. And if it finds one, you'll be alerted to that and able to download it and install it. All right, so the final and last item in the system settings is going to be about. This is where you can see your unit ID, also the version of software that you're running from Garmin, and then other information below. So that's all the available menus in the system settings. If you have any questions about this, leave a comment below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If you'd like to see more Garmin Venu tutorial videos, check the links in the description. If this video helped you, give it a thumbs up, and please consider subscribing to my channel, Gauging Gadgets, more gadget reviews and tech tutorials. Thank you so much for watching.